Okay, so I'm back. You're not going to be able to see my face because I want to get closer to the camera so you can see what I'm doing with the gourd here. So if you look at the screen, step one, with your compass, make a circle at the bottom of the gourd for our flap, okay? So I've already done this, but I'm going to go through it real quick. So a lot of times you're just going to put the point of this compass in the middle of the let's just call it the belly button of the gourd. This is a little scab left by the blossom of the gourd. So usually or often this is in the center of the bottom. So we can just assume this is a center, okay? And you can tell it looks like it is. Put that there. And we're going to make a circle as big as we can without going, we don't want to go up the side of the gourd like this. And we don't want to make a really small circle. We want to maximize this. And I usually, as a rough estimate, I put the edge of this circle at the point where it starts going up, okay? So here, I could have gone a little wider maybe, but you want to create a large enough opening so it's going to be easy for us to get in there. So you do that, and if you've used a compass before, you just swing it around, right? Outline it. Now, I guess if you get really good, you can put a pen or a marker in here, but if it slips or if you don't like the look of the circle or you want to make it bigger, if it's pencil, you can erase it very easily. I still use pencil. So I recommend you do the same. So there we go. This is what we're going to cut out in the next section. But before we do that, it's going to be a lot easier for us to cut all these holes that we're going to cut out. And I'm going to explain that right now. Okay, so we've got our circle outline. This is going to be where we cut the flap out. You want to maximize the bottom and find the center. Now, as an example, real quick, remember I told you that gourds, in one of the beginning sections, gourds sitting in the dirt will be a little deformed on the bottom. Here is a good example. This was probably sitting in the dirt. You see this is flat. So anyway, for the presentation, for purposes of this section, this scab, this belly button, if you will, is not in the center of the bottom, okay? You can see that if I use that as the center, I would be going up the side here. So I eyed it, you just eye it, and you see what is the center of the flat part of the bottom. I put the center there, okay? And then made my circle as such. So this is not always at the center. Use your judgment, find the center of the flat area. That's where you put the needle and then make your circle go as far out as you can until the gourd starts to curve up and go straight, okay? Or curve up and around. Try to maximize that bottom area. Get the biggest hole that you can out of that. So, part two, if you remember the zip tie attachments that I showed you, that is what we're going to do now. So you're going to get your equilateral triangle template and you're going to put it in the middle of your circle, okay? This is going to allow you to easily put these three pairs of attachment holes equidistant from each other. So when you put the zip ties in, it'll have a snug and tight fit as it pulls the flap into the body of the gourd. So especially if you have a lot of gourds to do, this is going to be really helpful. You can eye it if you want to. If you're going to eye it, use a pencil in case you make a mistake. But if you have a template, right, basically all you do, You go on the outside. Okay, here's a point of the triangle. You go about a 1/2 inch from the circle out. Okay, at least a 1/2 inch. You don't want to get close to the circle because when you cut this, there's not going to be a lot of gourd if you're right next to the circle, and the zip tie might break it, right? So a 1/2 inch out. The next point, okay, 1/2 inch. I don't know if you can see it. The third, okay, a 1/2 inch out. Take the template off. You go back. We've got seeds falling out. You go back. You've made the outside dots of the 3 pairs. You go to the inside, a 1/2 inch to the inside, and make a corresponding pair, a dot for the pair for each one, okay? There's the outside one we made. We put that one there. There's the outside one we just made with the template. We put its pair right there, okay? So I did all this, just going through it again. Let's look at our outline. So, as I said, I have about 70 gourds, and I'm trying to do them quickly, or as quickly as possible. So when I cut these flaps off and I clean them and then I seal them, the flaps are going to be separated obviously from the body. And if I have 70 flaps and 70 bodies, trying to find which one goes with which is going to be a long, tedious process, because some of these are somewhat similar in size, right? So what you do is, you can see here, got seeds falling out. You can see here, this is my 31st gourd. So you pick one pair of attachment holes on one side. On the body side, you put a number or letter or symbol, so 31. And then on the other side, on the lid side, on the corresponding dot, you put 31. So when these get separated, you have the 31 body. You say, okay, I got to just go through and find the 31 lid or a flap. And you use permanent marker so it doesn't wipe off. Okay, if you use pencil, it'll eventually rub off, and then you're going to not know which goes to which. Okay. Okay, so we got the circle drawn. We got our 3 pairs of attachment holes. We have our numbers or letters or symbols that will help us match the lid or the flap with the body. Now we need the drainage holes, okay? So you find the part of the gourd that is the lowest, okay? I don't know if you can see that, but sometimes these attachment holes are going to be low enough on the gourd where they can act as drainage holes, but most of the time not. So I found the spots of the bottom of the gourd where the gourd, kind of goes like this a lot. You find the deepest part and you make some dots. You're going to drill holes there. That's where the water and the feces and the urine from the birds and the rainwater is going to collect and drain out. Okay, so we have all of those marked. Okay, let me put the marker back. Got seeds everywhere. You're going to get your 1/4 inch drill bit. Okay. Now, if you're going to do a lot of gourds, you can go through all of your piles. Mark your circle, go through all of your piles with your equilateral triangle template, mark your paired holes, and then your drainage holes if you have a black marker, and number or letter all of your lids and bodies. You can do all of that sort of like an assembly line, okay? So let's assume you did that. Next step is we're going to use our 1/4 inch drill bit to drill out each of these holes that we just marked, okay? So if you're going to do a lot of these, you're going to put on your eye protection, you're going to put on your dust mask, and your hearing protection, okay? I'm going to do this one real quick, and because I want to talk, I'm not going to put on any of the protection, so don't do as I do, but try not to drill away your numbers. See, I drilled that away. I'm going to have to redo the 31 there. Got seeds falling out still. Okay. So, we have the attachment holes, the 3 pairs, right? We have our drainage holes. While we have the 1/4-inch drill bit in, okay, we're going to drill all the holes, which is this section. Number 6 on our outline, we're going to drill the hanger holes. So here's your entry hole. You want to go parallel, right? You want to go parallel with the entry hole. So I go to the top here, okay? I go to the side, I drill, okay? I drill and then I straighten up my drill so I go straight through to the other side. Okay? So it went through a little bit. I'm going to clean it up. Okay? So the string is going to go like this. All right? That's how I'm going to hang it. And for good measure, now these hanger holes also act like ventilation holes, but I'm going to put one more back here. It's a pretty thick gourd, which I always do, because in the summertime with the body heat of the birds inside, and if your gourd is going to be getting hit by the sun, these things can heat up. So you want ventilation holes up here so the heat can escape and get a little bit of draft going on in the birdhouse. It's going to make it more comfortable for the birds. So that's it for this section. We got all of our drainage and attachment holes, our hanger holes, our ventilation hole, our entry hole that we cut last section of the video. We're on to step 5, where we're actually going to cut out this flap. So I'm going to get the tools needed for that and rejoin you here in a minute.